Hello and welcome to part two of our Scam Smart video series. In part one, we talked about how you can help someone who is being victimized by online fraud and also what to do if you find yourself being scammed. Part two, we're going to focus on some of the more common scams that are out there, how to identify them, and some preventative strategies to avoid them altogether. There are some commonalities regardless of the type of scam that you may be exposed to. The first being if something seems too good to be true, it often is. A lot of scams play on certain emotions, one of them being the excitement of getting some sort of reward, money you didn't know that was coming, a relationship with a beautiful person. There's also the other side, the fear. There's some sort of a problem with your taxes, or you owe money to this, or your computer is infected with something and you're going to lose all your files. These scams usually come out of the blue as well. You're not expecting this information. It's unsolicited, that just shows up and says, hey, we've got a great deal for you. And there's a pressure element as well. You need to act now or something's going to happen. If you don't respond to this number or click on this link, the police are going to be knocking at your door. While this isn't always the case, but a lot of scams will involve some sort of weird method of payment. A Facebook market that needs you to email them the money before you can see the product, things like that. Scams usually ask for personal information as well, things like passwords or PIN numbers, or a common one will be, we need to verify your account. Please put in your PIN number or your bank account number. These requests usually come over email or text message. No one requiring this information will ever ask for it via email or text. If the text messages or emails are full of spelling mistakes, this is another sign that it's a fraudulent email. If any of the correspondence becomes aggressive or threatening in any way, this is another sign that it's a scam. Companies like Visa or Microsoft or Revenue Canada are not going to get angry or aggressive or threatening with you on the phone or through email. And finally, if you're asked to download anything as part of your correspondence, you need to download this piece of software. You need to accept these files. This is another thing that you might want to have someone look at because this is a common scam tactic. As we can see from this chart, investment fraud counts for more than half of the money lost to fraud in the country each year. And that's followed by things like the romance scamming, which is when a potential suitor connects with you, says they need money for a variety of things, or essentially blackmails you saying that I have illicit pictures of you that I'm going to send to people in your contact list unless you start sending me money. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through these and some other common types of scams, show you what they look like, how they operate, and how you can hopefully identify them and prevent yourself from getting involved in them. As mentioned, investment scams are the ones that make the most money for cyber criminals. There's a variety of investment scams, and one of the reasons that they're so successful is because they're complicated. Understanding how to make money on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency or in the gold market or through real estate. This is complicated stuff. And these scams promise high returns for low investments. Typically, these are sent to you through email to try out this website or to download this app and try trading. They make promises like you can start for free or we'll give you some money to try. The app will show that your investment is growing over time and things are looking wonderful. And that might entice you to put more money on and load more money into it. And then when you go to try to take your money out of these accounts, that's when you realize that your money is gone, that there was no account to begin with. And the little graphics and charts that they showed you of Your money growing was all nonsense. It wasn't real. This website beside me is an example of one that was illegitimate and has since been shut down. There's also a popular series of apps called Golden Way. These were crypto trading applications that all turned out to be fraudulent as well. I will mention something called pig butchering. It kind of is a different name than most of them. Might be wondering what that is. Pig butchering is the long con. This is when someone will approach you, maybe through Facebook or a dating site, saying that they have a business idea or that they're a trader and that they can make more money than your bank can, and they'll develop a personal relationship with you. They'll talk about emotional things with you, the good things that are happening in their lives, the terrible things that are happening in their lives. Try to develop that emotional connection with you that they can then take advantage of to get you to invest more money in them. So there are plenty of legitimate investment opportunities out there for people. How can you tell when one's a scam and one? So a few warning signs to keep in mind. Number one, a lot of this will come through social media. So if someone's trying to solicit your business through Facebook or Instagram, this should be the first big red flag. Big companies that do investments do not need to go after people on a one-to-one basis through social media. Legitimate companies do not pressure people either. There is no act now or you're going to miss out on something. They don't need to do that. It's not part of their business model. If there is an urgency that's being presented to you, consider this a red flag. If you're getting promised things that are too good to be true, again, another red flag. If you're asked to use an app to manage your trading or to track your investments, and that app isn't available through one of the legit stores, the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, this is another sign that it's a scam. Legitimate companies go through those two big app stores. Overall, if you are looking to participate in the investment market, speak to professionals before engaging in anything. And professionals being the bank institutions, companies like Questrade or Edward Jones or somewhere like that. Failing that, just do your due diligence before agreeing to anything. Look up the companies that you're wanting to work with. Google their company. Look for claims of fraud against them. Talk to people in the field to make sure you're using a legitimate one. Take your time. There's no mad rush to get in this. Do your due diligence. Your skepticism now will pay off in the long run. The next thing I want to talk about are e-transfer scams. These are text messages that get sent to your phone that say you have a refund waiting or someone sent you money. Click here to accept the e-transfer. E-transfers do not come via text message. They come via email from the bank. If you're getting e-transfer notifications from phone numbers you don't recognize, they are a scam. These are always a scam. There is never anyone sending you money this way. Now, sometimes you might be tempted to text something back to these numbers saying, leave me alone. The problem with doing this is that the scammers now know that they have a live number. And just like we talked about in the other video, once someone has engaged with a scam, they're more likely to be targeted in the future. So the best thing you can do when these come through is to block the number and report it as spam. If you are in a position where you get a lot of e-transfers for legitimate reasons, you can turn automatic deposit on for those e-transfers, and then there's never anything you have to do. The money is just sent into your account and life goes on. You don't need to worry about passwords or accepting things. That just removes the thinking element from any of this. Maybe you do get a lot of e-transfers and a text message makes you think, oh, I should be receiving money, and you click on it by accident. turn on automatic deposit, and then you don't have to worry about this. Because at the end of the day, all of these are scams. You're never going to get a refund sent to you via text message for an e-transfer. If you do click on one of these by accident, it might take you to a page that looks like your bank page to log into something. They're doing this to try to steal your banking information. If you have put your banking information in by accident, thinking that this was legitimate, you'll want to connect with your bank and get your PIN number and your bank account number changed. Call the number on the back of your bank card and block access to your accounts. Because scammers are terrible people, they will take advantage of anything happening in the world as an opportunity to try to take your money. Charity scams play on your emotions in that we are good people and we want to help others who are in need, and set up situations where we donate money thinking that we're helping people when it's really just going to a scammer. A lot of this will appear in social media feeds. So as a general rule, it is best not to donate to any charities that you hear about via social media. Best practices, if you do want to help other people out, are to donate locally. If there's situations in the world that you do want to help out with, connect with Red Cross. Now, you don't need to support Red Cross as a charity, but one of the things that the Red Cross does is it keeps a list of legitimate charities that function throughout the world. So unfortunately, a lot of this does appear in social media, and the social media platforms are very slow in shutting this stuff down. And often when someone's Facebook account has been hacked, these types of posts will start showing up on their feed. So if a friend of yours has a post like this on their feed, you might think it's more legitimate than if you just stumbled across it on accident. So again, extreme caution when thinking about supporting a charity through a social media site. Support local or connect through Red Cross, or a lot of churches do this too, that they will work with legitimate charities that will get the money where you want to go. If you watched part one of this video, we talked a little bit about the tech support scams. These show up as pop-ups on your phone or your laptop, your computer, saying that your device is infected with viruses, or your antivirus software is out of date, or your network is corrupt and steps need to be taken to save all of your data. This practice of freaking you out is called scareware. Another way this enters your world is a phone call saying that it's someone from a big company that you recognize. This is so-and-so from Microsoft calling. Your computer is infected and we need to fix it. These scammers will then ask for some sort of payment, or for you to install some piece of software onto your computer so that they can fix it for you. And the takeaway from this section is that all of this is a scam. Your computer is not infected. In a previous video, I talked about malware and how this is a annoying type of software code that gets onto your device, usually after you visit a certain type of website or download an attachment, and then it lives in something called your cache folder. A cache folder is a setting in your internet that saves a bunch of stuff, and that's where these pop-ups are coming from. It's complicated computer gibberish that you don't need to worry too much about. What you should focus on is that your computer is not infected. It is very hard for computers nowadays to get actual viruses. Apple, Windows, Google Chrome, they all have virus protection built into them now. Unfortunately, this malware stuff keeps popping up. The easy way to get rid of it is that you clear your cache folder. I have a video on how to do that. It's part of your internet history. So if you know how to clear your search history from your internet, you likely know how to clear your cache file. But it's a good practice to clear your cache folder on a regular basis, keep your phone and your apps updated regularly. And if this is constantly happening, you might want to put an anti-malware piece of software on your device. EVG above my head there. It's free, it's available on the app stores, and it's easy to run, and it'll clear all of this stuff off your device for you. You do not need to pay anybody to get rid of this stuff. So to summarize, your device is not infected. This is just an annoying pop-up, and deleting your cache file gets rid of this. Do not pay anybody. Do not call any numbers. Do not install any software you're asked to. Similar to the charity scams we talked about a few moments ago, Canada Revenue Agency scams are always popular around tax season, and it is not uncommon for people to get text messages that are claiming to be Canada Revenue and that there's an issue with your taxes and you need to respond. You need to provide them with your SIN number, or a warrant is going to be issued for your arrest if you don't respond soon. CRA scams are very common, especially in the spring, and it's something that needs to be ignored and blocked. The quote beside me here is right off Canada Revenue's website, that they will never contact you via text. They never request immediate payment. They will never ask you to pay your tax bill using Bitcoin or gift cards. They are never aggressive with you. CRA does not use Facebook Messenger. They don't use WhatsApp. They never ask you for financial information through email. If you've received something and you think it might be legitimate, you can call Canada Revenue Agency directly, and their phone number is listed beside me here. Another type of scam you might run into is called the emergency scam. It's also known as the grandparent scam. In this type of scam, you get a panicked phone call, usually late at night, from somebody claiming to be a relative. The grandparent scam works in late night. You get a phone call, and if a male voice answers the phone, they'll say, "Hello, Grandpa." And before you can really focus, like, "I'm in trouble and I need money. I've been arrested. Don't tell mom and dad. I can't talk to you. I'm going to put you on with my buddy." And then they pass the phone off. So by the time the person who has just woken up from sleep realizes what's going on, they're now talking to your grandchild's buddy, who is then going to say, "Yeah, your grandson was arrested, and I need you to send me some bail money so that he can get out and we'll pay you back." They'll want you to email them money to an account. Or this scam is successful because of the confusion aspect. They target late night calls or very early morning calls. They target a lot of landline phone numbers because the majority of people with landlines are of a certain age. On any of these emergency type phone call scams, slow down and verify things. Just like all scams, there's that urgency built into this one. Nothing is that urgent. Verify people are who they say they are. Ask them questions that the person would only be able to answer. If they're claiming they've been arrested, call the police station and ask. Call the child's parents. The person on the phone is going to tell you not to because they're embarrassed, but rather them be embarrassed than you lose your money. Most romance scams will take one of two forms. There's the kind that try to establish a bond with you and then use that connection to request money. I want to come see you, send me money for a plane ticket. Or they have a sick family member that needs help, something like that. You may connect with these people through legitimate dating sites. They're setting up a false profile with a fake picture, but then they're on the other end sending you legitimate messages, and they are developing feelings very quickly and are very skilled at creating that illusion of love so that they can take advantage of you. Canada Anti-Fraud reports that these types of scams are very popular in certain parts of the world. The messages may come through at weird times of the night and day, and the scammers will often report that the reason they respond at weird hours is because they're in the military and stationed at various locations throughout the world. And if you send money and they're supposed to come and visit you on the day they're supposed to arrive, well, they got redeployed to a new location and they're unable to come, but they'll try again and keep the momentum going. Another way romance scams can happen is once a relationship is established, the scamming party starts to ask for illicit photos or videos to be sent to them. They may send pictures and videos to you first. You respond with pictures, and then once you've sent them, you are then contacted by a third party saying that they have these photos, which they are going to share with your contact list or your Facebook friends or your work associates, unless you start sending them money. And this is known as extortion. The scammers who engage in this type of fraud are by far the most despicable of the bunch because they're preying on such a pure emotion, people that want connection with other people. And for people who find themselves in these scams, it can be extremely embarrassing. If you suspect or know someone in this situation, do all you can to get them the help that they need, because the fallout from one of these romance scams can be absolutely devastating. If you are exploring new relationships online, here are a few things to keep in mind. Sharing financial information with new people online is not something that should be part of the equation. If that kind of information is being asked of you, that's a big red flag for a new relationship. When you do connect with somebody, do some online searching. Everybody has an online presence now. Check out their Facebook profile, their social media to see that they actually exist and that they are who they say they are. It's very easy to put a fake profile picture in one of these dating sites. There's something called a reverse image search that you can do with Google, where you can take a profile picture and use that to search the internet and see if that person is attached to that picture. Go on YouTube and type in "how do I reverse image search" to figure out how to do that. While it's best practice to use legitimate dating sites, fake profiles can be set up on any platform. And if you do happen to encounter one, make sure you're reporting that. Be wary of new friendships and relationships with people who claim that they're falling in love right away. And be very careful with what you choose to share with them. A subscription trap is a type of scam where you'll get a free offer of a membership of something, and canceling that subscription is extremely hard and in some cases impossible. Once the free trial has ended, you're expected to pay a large monthly fee. There was an app on the Google Play Store that my son had downloaded that had a 1 hour free trial. And if you didn't uninstall it in time, it would take a $200 a year fee out of your bank account. This was an example of a subscription trap. I reported this to Google Play, and they were very slow to respond to it. I reported it to Visa, and immediately they reversed the charges and identified this as fraud and dealt with it within minutes. So always be cautious of free trials for programs. But it's a good practice to write down the day that the free trial ends so that if you don't want to pay for it, you can cancel it in time. If you're trying a free trial for a program or a service that you're not too familiar with, it's always a good idea to research them online first to see how legitimate the business is before agreeing to anything. We're always looking for a good deal, and there are plenty of good deals presented to us when we're online. Sometimes these can be fraudulent, whether it's purchasing imitation goods or being promised things that never arrive. We want to make sure that we're purchasing from legitimate companies with good reputations, and we're purchasing using safe buying practices. I highly recommend doing any online shopping with a credit card. The reason being, if there's ever an issue with what you've purchased and someone gets a hold of your information and runs up charges on you, if you use your credit card, they're spending the credit card's company's money. Whereas if they get a hold of your bank card, they're spending your money. And yes, both have security built into them, and your bank account may be able to recover your funds for you, but it's going to take time. And if in that time your rent check bounces or you're unable to buy food because you don't have any money in your bank account, these are real world problems. Having a credit card with a small limit on it is going to make online shopping much, much safer. If you don't have a credit card or aren't able to get a traditional credit card, I'm going to show you something in a few slides that may be of use. Another popular way of buying things online are secondhand marketplaces like Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, Carrot. Unfortunately, these markets are full of scammers because it is so easy to create a fake Facebook account or a fake email address and use that to push fake goods for sale. Sellers that don't have any reviews or live far away or request you to send them money via email money transfer. These are all red flags that the sale may be an attempt to scam you. If purchasing from Facebook, I recommend always paying in cash, always seeing the goods in person. Don't have them promise to ship it to you. If you don't feel comfortable meeting at somebody's house or having someone come to your house, all of the police departments now have what are called safe buy and sell zones. There's a list here of the ones available in Mississauga, in Brampton, and in Oakville. These are well-lit 24/7 camera monitored areas where you can exchange goods and services with people in a safe environment. There's a picture of a puppy for sale here and a few things. And there's a few things here that you can see which would be cause for concern if you were considering purchasing this puppy. Number one, the image is a stock photo. That's not a photo that looks like someone took it of the actual dog. Way too photoshopped. That's one cause for concern. Number two, the price is way too low. Puppies cost thousands of dollars. You're not going to find a dog that inexpensive. Number three, the person wants you to pay them and then they will transfer or transport the dog to you. You always want to be able to inspect an item, whether it's a puppy or a set of pots and pans, before you actually purchase them. And finally, this ad is asking for payment by money transfer or wire transfer. Again, if you're buying off Facebook Market, cash is king. Always pay cash, never pay email money transfer or anything else. If you're selling things online, you can be susceptible to scams as well. There's a common scam where people will say they'll purchase an item from you. They'll send you more money than it's worth because they want you to ship the item to them. You'll get an email from them saying the money is in your account and will be released once you provide the shipping label information to them, once you've shipped the item. So you would prepare the item for shipping, pay for the shipping, send the item, to the recipient and put in the number only to realize that the PayPal or EMT is not legitimate. And now you're out the item and you have no money. You've shipped it to them for free. So just like if you're a buyer, exchanging goods for cash, meeting in public areas, these are all good practices for being a seller as well. There are so many other scams out there, unfortunately. A few of them listed here. Things like the calls for people to come and clean your air ducts. Now you might think, how is this a scam? Well, often these air duct cleaning calls are people calling phone numbers to find out whether or not they're live. And if they have a live number, they can sell that information to people who are genuinely trying to scam you. And if you do decide that, yes, you want to get your air ducts clean with them, you provide your credit card information and they may or may not show up, or they may not be a very good company. They show up with a shop vac and do a poor job of cleaning your ducts. With any service calls coming to your house, whether it's door-to-door salespeople or calls for services, it's always best if you want these things done that you instigate the call. If you genuinely need your air ducts cleaned, you should be the one researching companies and calling those companies. Don't rely on them calling you. A lot of the other scams listed here operate under the same parameters as the ones we've already talked about. They're offering to make something that's hard easier. They're scaring you into doing something. The reaction from you should always be the same. Meet these things with skepticism, document what it is that they're after, and then do your own research. If a collection agency is calling you and threatening you, write down their information and then Google the company and then try to connect with them on your own. Don't take people's word for it if they're calling you and harassing or threatening you. So to summarize everything, here are some general tips to keep yourself safe when online. Number one, if anything is telling you that your computer is infected, don't trust it. Learn how to delete your browsing history and clear that cache folder. Keep your devices updated. It might be annoying to constantly have to install updates, but almost all of these updates are security patches. They're designed to keep your device and keep your information safe. When you receive text messages or phone calls that you don't recognize, block them and report them as spam. Don't respond to them. That's how they know the number is active. Just block them and report them. If you do still have a landline, you can add your phone number to the Canadian Do Not Call list. Now, I appreciate doing this will not block all of the scam calls coming through, but it will block some of them. If you're getting emails and text messages that you aren't sure about, don't click on any links or don't download any software that they advise you to. Run it by someone else before downloading or clicking on anything. If emails or text messages from important sounding companies are coming to you and they're full of emojis or spelling mistakes or funny grammar, this is a telltale sign that these are being created using a translating app and are fraudulent. And be wary about what you're putting on social media. There is no delete button. And once the information is there, people who know what they're looking for know how to find it. If someone has called your house and they're asking for information and they're being aggressive, request a phone number to call them back at and research the number before you call them. Scams rely on that urgency, and you can take that power away from them. Keep your personal information personal. Things like your birthday, your address, your SIN number, your PIN number. This information does not need to be shared with anybody online. If someone is looking to install a piece of software on your computer because they want access to your computer to fix things, for instance, don't download it and don't allow them access. Software like AnyDesk, TeamViewer, LogMeIn, these are all remote access software that scammers frequently use in order to steal your information. If you have any of these pieces of software installed on your computer, talk to somebody about having it uninstalled. When shopping online, I do recommend using a credit card just because the protection available through companies like Visa and MasterCard is some of the best you will get online. And finally, if someone does confide in you that they have been scammed or are currently involved in one, don't be judgmental. They're looking for a friend. And the best thing you can do is to be supportive and report it. If your situation prevents you from having a credit card, this may be an option worth considering. At one point in time, all the banks used to offer prepaid Visas or prepaid MasterCards, and that's not really a thing anymore. However, they are still available through Canada Post. These cards work anywhere that a traditional credit card works. You preload them with a set amount of money, and that's how much you can spend on them. There is a small fee to purchase the cards, and there is a fee each time you reload them, but these are inexpensive insurances to protect yourself when shopping online. To report online scam or fraudulent activity, Canada Anti-Fraud is the biggest organization in the country that handles this. There is an 800 number you can call and speak to someone live. There's also an online portal that you can report claims online. Now, from personal experience helping people through this process, I found that the online portal is complicated to get onto. While you may be on hold for a bit to get onto their 800 number help, it's the most straightforward and easy way to do it. You can also report scams and fraud to your local police department. There are cybercrime numbers, and they're available in part 1 of this video for the Halton and the Peel Police, where MindForward serves most. But you can go into any police station and report online scams and fraud in person. Finally, I have a list of resources here, which I will provide as an attachment that you can download from wherever you found this video. The world of online scamming is constantly evolving, and there will be new scams in the future that I have yet to cover. Some of these resources will be valuable if you want to stay up to date on this information. I'll highlight Scam Busters. Scam Busters is an online newsletter that you can sign up for, and it'll be emailed to you. And it's good, straightforward, interesting information on new scams, how to prevent them, and how they operate. Hopefully some of this information will prevent you from getting caught up in something online. I hope you found it interesting. And as always, thanks for watching.